Hi Flosstube, I'm Annie and I am the Proper Stitcher, and welcome to episode 134. If this is your first time joining me, I am so glad you stopped by today. This is a channel where I like to talk about cross stitch and hopefully give you inspiration to fully finish your projects. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your continued support and all of your wonderful comments you send my way. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is a very special edition of my Flosstube today. Today I will go over all of my new releases for the Nashville Needlework Market, which is coming up in just 2 weeks. So I am so excited to bring 10 new releases to you and for you to order directly through your needlework stores. Nashville Needlework Market is hosted by Needlework Retailer, and it is in Franklin, Tennessee in March. This is a great time for store owners from all over the world and designers and vendors and anything associated with needlework from all over the world to come together and meet in one location. It is a great time for us to not only get to know each other, but to hopefully share a little bit more about ourselves so that stores can make decisions on what they would like to sell in their shops and bring to you directly, the customer and the stitcher. So I am so excited to bring to you all one reimagined sampler. I have one reproduction sampler. We have 2 new additions to the Celebrate Ewes series. I have another addition to the Season of Generosity series and many other new releases. Each one I will go over in detail with you. I'll give you all the information that you will want to know. I will also send all of this information to your stores so they can have all of the new releases, all of the fabric that was used, the floss that was used, everything that you'll need to know as a stitcher should you decide to pre-order these designs. Not only will you know the pattern, but you'll also know what supplies you'll need for stitching them. And I will take a break in between each of the new releases to give me a little bit of a set change. You may see the shelves behind me look a little different as the project goes on, as the episode goes on. And at the end of end of all of the new releases, I will go over in detail how you can place your order with your stores. So, like I always say, grab a pen and paper, grab your favorite beverage, and grab your cross stitch, and let's get started. The first new release I'm going to share with you is a reimagined sampler. And it is a sampler that I've had in my collection for a while, and I absolutely fell in love with it the minute I saw it. I love to find samplers that are a little quirky, very different. I like samplers with blues and greens and golds in it. I like samplers that have just a little bit of interest. And when I look at an antique sampler, sometimes I just want to reproduce it exactly as it is, and sometimes I want to reimagine it. This is one I chose to reimagine, but I did chart it as the original so that you have 2 choices in your sampler. Sometimes I change things just because I feel like it will make it more personal to you as the stitcher. But if you would like to have it as the original stitcher charted it, then that is it's there for you as well. So this chart will have both an alphabet chart in it so that you can personalize it yourself like I did, or you can stitch it as the girl stitched it back in 1806. So without further ado, let me share with you Bountiful Sampler. And this one was so fun to chart because I loved the pig. The very first thing that I noticed when I found this sampler was the pig. I have not seen a sampler with a pig in it before, and I loved the shades of blues and grays and the hints of gold that are throughout this sampler. So I'm going to come in a little closer, let you take a detailed look, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So this sampler has this beautiful cottage at the top of the sampler, which is just amazing. I loved the colors of gold and blue and gray, and that it had the 2 doors and the windows were open. So they're not filled in with light. It's just a nice airy design. Then we have our beautiful trees, these wonderful motifs throughout. These little guys here, these little squares, are satin stitches, but I charted it, so if you want to stitch it as regular stitches, you can do that as well, or you can choose to do the satin stitches. We have a beautiful pig here that is stitched over 1, so a tent stitch will give you this wonderful look for this pig. We have some baskets, these beautiful urns and flowers. And this is where I made it personal. I put my grandmother's initials here for Lois Gray. And this is where the original stitcher put her name. And I will show you the original here in a moment. But her name was Millier Brown, and she was just 12 years old when she stitched this. This is just a beautiful, beautiful piece. I love everything about it. I love how delicate it is. All the motifs. Some are identical mirror images and some are just on their own. We have these two motifs here that are not the same. But then you have the baskets that mirror each other. We have a crown here. And it was just such a pleasure to play with this sampler. I love the framing. This framing was done by Bennett in Knoxville. Ramona Bishop always does a beautiful job with the framing for me. And I just absolutely love how this came about. I've decided to name it Bountiful Sampler because everything in here is bountiful. We have an abundance of just so many wonderful things that you would see on a farm or at a cottage in England. So I just want to go over a little bit more details with you on this. So inside, when I do a reproduction or a reimagined sampler, in the pattern you will have information, if there is information, on the girl who stitched it, or boy. And this time we do have a little bit of information about Millier Brown. That will be included, a little bit of history about her, and information on what I look for when I am purchasing samplers or reproducing them. So let me show you the original sampler. I chose to take her out of the frame because the frame was damaged, but here is the original sampler, and it is just a beautiful little size. I did reimagine the flower pots on either side of the house because they were just little balls, and I wanted to create something with just a little bit more interest. So that was changed, as well as this section right here. You can see this is stitched over 1, and it is her name. It says Millier Brown, worker, aged 12 years old, 1806. So it's a very, very delicate, very, very old piece. And it is one that I keep preserved in acid-free paper in an acid-free museum storage box. And I just love this pattern, this design, this antique sampler so much. So let's go over a little bit more information about Bountiful Sampler. So all of my patterns are printed on high quality paper, and they're printed in color so that it just makes it easier for you to see and more enjoyable to work with. I should have taken this out of the bag. I'll take all the others out of the bag before we go. But here's your pattern cover, Bountiful Sampler. And here is your image of my personalization of the sampler. Bountiful Sampler. So here is some information about the sampler. The stitch count is 159 wide by 213 high. The finished size is 8 by 10 5/8 inches when it is stitched on 40 count. I used 40 count baklava by Grace Notes Fabrics using 1 strand of floss over 2, and we used needlepoint silks for this one, but there is a DMC conversion provided. A very special thank you to Ramona Bishop at Bennett in Knoxville for her framing talents, and to my model stitcher, Michelle Stoner. Michelle said that she enjoyed stitching this so much. So let's take one more quick peek at Bountiful Sampler, and then we will go to the next piece. I hope that you all love this just as much as I do. This was just a very special project, and I love the way it turned out. It's one that is one of my favorites. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I'll go to release number 2. So in the fall, I started a series called Seasons of Generosity, and it is based off of Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 through 8. And it says, the Seasons of Generosity is inspired by Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 8. For everything there is a season, and for time for every purpose under heaven. This series features songs that are designed to fill your home with joy each season. This next installation to the series is very special to me because it is one of my favorite hymns and one of my favorite songs. It is one that can spark emotion, but it's also a beautiful, beautiful song. And it is based off of How Great Thou Art. And I'm excited to share this one with you. This one is titled, Then Sings My Soul. And I'll give you a little bit more information about the hymn. But Then Sings My Soul is a beautiful, soft spring palette. We have soft pinks and golds and greens, some butterflies, the same beautiful, beautiful tree on either side of the house. But this one was such a joy to chart and to design for you all. I just absolutely love everything about it. This beautiful wreath on the door. I love blue, lots of blue in here. This fabric is Lightning by Needle Bling Designs. So it created, by using the soft blue, it just absorbed and made all of these really pretty spring colors more muted, and that's what I wanted. My vision for this was soft and subtle and just delicate, and that is exactly what it is. So Then Sings My Soul is the second line, or really the second stanza of How Great Thou Art. And I just wanted to read just the first few lines of the hymn to you. O Lord my God, when I'm in awesome wonder, consider all the worlds Thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, Thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to Thee, how great Thou art, how great Thou art. And it is just a beautiful song that just reminds us how wonderful life is and God's creation is. And I am so excited to bring this to you all. So let me give you some information about Then Sings My Soul, and I will show you the pattern cover first. So here's your pattern cover, and here's some information about the design. All of the designs in this series are the exact same stitch count. So it's stitch count 183 by 111. The finished size is 10 1/8 inch by 6 1/8 inches. The fabric that I used for this is 36 count Lightning by Needle Bling Designs, using 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. You have a combination of Weeks Dye Works and DMC floss. And as with all of my charts, there's a DMC color conversion. Thank you again to Ramona at Bennett in Knoxville for framing this piece for me, and to Jennifer Allee, who is with the Bougie Stitchers, for beautifully model stitching this design for me. So inside this pattern, there's also going to be a little bit more information about the history of the song, and just a little bit more detailed information about that. But just as a refresher, let me show you the others in the series. This is All Is Calm, which was released at Christmas. And this is We Gather Together, which was released, the very first one, in the fall. We Gather Together. So now we have All Is Calm. And I'll let you take another quick peek. Oh, not All Is Calm. Then Sings My Soul. Then Sings My Soul. And I just love it. I love the framing. I love everything about it. All the subtle tones, all the delicate colors. It was just a beautiful, beautiful piece. So I hope you enjoy it too. Then Sings My Soul. The third release that I have is a small quick stitch. It is an original design, and it is one that I have had in progress for a while. I've been wanting to create a design that speaks to the stitcher's heart, to the cross stitcher's heart. We all have these days where, I know we all say it, that our day is not complete unless we have put in a few stitches on our latest whip. Or if we don't get to stitch, we feel like we're a little cranky. Or sometimes when we're a little down, the best thing to do is to stitch. Not to mention, it's fun to get together with our stitching friends. So I really wanted to create and design a pattern that spoke to the stitcher's soul. So we have Stitching Mends the Soul. And this is a quick little design, little stitch, that is just wonderful for you to have in your sewing room, or to put on a project bag, or to stitch for a friend. And it is just one that I have often thought is sort of like chicken soup for the soul, but stitching mends the soul. So in this one, we have spools on either side that frame the design. This side we have a vine that goes up, and up here we have tomato pin cushions. Even within the pin cushions, we have a backstitch needle going through each of them. These little buttons on the side can even be replaced. There's cross stitch buttons, but you can even replace them with actual buttons. We have several spools with thread, and we have two women holding a hoop with a heart. So it can either be mother-daughter, two friends, or just any person you want that to be, that, you know, stitching friends. And then we have our scissors. We have a crow up here with the thread, and we have a crown, because I just feel like it needed a crown to remind us to always straighten each other's crowns. So this was so much fun. I love the loop-de-loo of the font for the S's and the G, but Stitching Mends the Soul. And I absolutely love this board. This is from Chantel 141 Design Company. This is her cow tag board. And she created this DMC or this bobbin and wrapped floss around it to create this beautiful finish. These boards, you can get the stand to help stand it up. So Stitching Mends the Soul. Let's go over some details on this. Here is your pattern cover. And here's all the information. So I've just wrote on here that Stitching Mends the Soul represents all of our emotions surrounding our wonderful craft. While this piece holds all things loved by stitchers, we have needle, floss, tomatoes, scissors, bobbins. It's the heart between the stitchers that brings meaning to the design. The stitch count is 109 by 90. The finished size is 6 by 5. This was stitched on 36 count Baklava by Grace Notes Fabrics, using 1 strand of floss over 2. And there's a combination of Classic Colorworks, Weeks Dye Works, and DMC used in this design. And there is a DMC color conversion. A special thank you to Amy Raffa for model stitching this for me, and to Chantel for not only finishing this for me, but providing the board and painting the board. This is the cow tag board, and it can be found on Chantel's website. But this is Stitching Mends the Soul. And I just love it. Love everything about it. I love anything friend related and stitching related and very quick stitches. Sometimes we just need those. And we all know that stitching really does mend the soul, and it just fills our heart with so much joy. So I hope you enjoy Stitching Mends the Soul. My next design it can be considered a St. Patrick's Day themed design, but I think it's a sweet design that you would want to have out, if not all through spring, then all the time. It is an Irish blessing, and it is one that I have always enjoyed thinking about, because it just, again, it goes back to friendship, and it goes back to what people mean to us. So this one I've called Friends O' Plenty. Friends O' Plenty, and it says, may your home always be too small to hold all your friends. And I just love that. I love the meaning behind it. May you have an abundance of friends that you never have enough room to house them all. And I just absolutely love what that means and what that portrays. So this is a beautiful little design. It's very quick to stitch. We have a small house coming out of the urn, and all of these whimsical, fun 4-leaf clovers. We have different sizes, different shades of green, very fun and quirky. We have the flowers that accompany the little buds of the 4-leaf clovers. And then we have the wording displayed around the 4-leaf clovers. So may your home always be too small to hold all your friends. So let's go over some details. This pin right here, this is from Teresa with Jersey Girl Stitch Company. And I knew I wanted to add just a little bit of bling to this. And she really stepped up and did a beautiful job with that. This is one that I wanted to keep the finish very simple, because I felt like the greens really stood out and created the design, and I didn't want to take away from that. So let's go over in detail all of the stuff, all of the information about Friends O' Plenty, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the board and the finishing. I forgot to take this one out of the bag. Friends O' Plenty, again, it's an Irish blessing sampler. I just love, or phrase, an Irish blessing. But here's your pattern cover, Friends O' Plenty. And let's go over all the details. So this is what I wrote on the back. It's that time again to wish on the 4-leaf clover and look at the gold at the end of the rainbow. But this wish isn't one that needs to end the day after a celebration. Friends O' Plenty is a design I hope reflects the abundance of your friends in comparison to your home, and that you too will consider the love and joy felt when your home is simply overtaken by those who are there to love and support you. The stitch count is 99 by 99. The finished size is 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 inches. And this was stitched on 32 count Pistachio Frappe by Grace Notes Fabrics, using 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. The entire design is stitched with DMC floss. And a very special thank you to my friend who lives here in town. Her name is Daphne Kilgo, and she beautifully model stitched this for me. The finishing board is from Chantel 141 Design Company. This is the everything board, and the size is medium. I used rickrack from Lady Dot Creates to finish this. This is vintage rickrack. And this green fabric is a Tilda fabric, and it's just one of their basic colors, and it's in a green. You can do so many different things with this board. You can paint this board just or have it a wood stain color. You don't have to paint it a color at all. I chose to paint it with a blend of beadboard and sandy blonde to create this sort of khaki look. I absolutely love this piece. It's not one that I don't think it just needs to be out for St. Patrick's Day, but I just love it. I love everything about it. I love how quirky it is, but I love the saying and I love the blessing. And I just love just to have that reminder that we have friends that love us and support us, and not just friends that are in this community, but also who are not cross stitchers. And I just think this is a great piece to have out. So that is Friends O'Plenty. And I hope that you have friends aplenty and that you find joy in stitching this piece. My next two releases are really a pair, so I decided to combine the next two together in this one segment. And it is one that requires a little bit of a background story. So this next release, or two releases, is based off of Isaiah 12:2. And it's also a hymn, and it's a song that we sing at our church on a very regular basis, and I'm just going to read it to you because I cannot sing. Surely it is God who saves me. I will trust in him and not be afraid. For the Lord is my stronghold and my sure defense, and he will be my savior. And it just is a wonderful message of how God is there for you. And that is just something that I felt like in a time like now, that is something that we all probably would like to hear, especially after all of the natural disasters and things that have happened over the last year. Also, if it's someone who is going through a tough time, to know that you're not alone. And it is a hymn that when we sing it in church, I just really reflect on the message of not only the verse, but of the hymn. And it's also a reminder, because in our church, we have a beautiful organ at the altar, and on either side of the altar, we have the verse carved in the organ. So not only do I get to be reminded of it whenever we sing the hymn, but I'm reminded of it just by seeing the message on our organ. And it is one that I've wanted to create into a cross stitch piece for a long time. And it's one that I hope that brings you joy and brings you comfort in knowing that you're not alone. So the first one I want to show you, it is titled, He Saves Me. And so they're both little pillows. This one says, surely it is God who saves me. And in this design, we have a lot going on. We have some beautiful whimsical flowers. These motifs were taken from an antique sampler that I have. And both the pillows have motifs from the antique sampler. We have this fun house with these beautiful birds, these sweet little motifs. And the borders on the two pillows mirror each other. So if this wanted to be stitched as one long pillow, or stitched into a drum, or framed into a longer piece, it certainly can do that. So let me come in a little closer so you can see the details of this piece. And it was finished by my friend Jan Calvert. She did a beautiful ruching with the ribbon. And these pins are from Jersey Girl Stitch Company, and she will have those available for you right away. The same with the Friends O'Plenty pin. But this is a beautiful pink and green pin that she has created for this. So this is pillow number 1, Surely it is God who saves me. And I'll show you the pattern cover after I show you the second one. I'll do the two side by side. The next one says, this is called Trust in Him. And this one says, I will trust in Him and not be afraid. And on this one, we have a beautiful bee skep with Smyrna stitches for the bees. Super easy stitches. These little flowers, again, are from an antique sampler that I have that has just a lot of different motifs on it. I call it my motif sampler. This beautiful big lily, or I guess, I think it is kind of like a lily of the valley. These beautiful pieces here, even these hearts were from that antique sampler. I just changed the colors to fit the color motif that, the color palette I wanted to use. And then we have the same border. So as you can see with these two, you can put them side by side. You can keep them as individual pillows, but they just make a beautiful set to put in a dough bowl, or like I said, framed, or as a big drum if you wanted to make a drum. So this one is titled, Trust in Him, and this one is He Saves Me. So when you see it together, it says, surely it is God who saves me. I will trust in Him and not be afraid. So those are my two pillows. So let's go over all the details. Here is your pattern cover for He Saves Me. And this one, I will read to you again from the back. This piece is based on a verse in hymn I have come to love over the years. Surely God is my salvation. I will trust and not be afraid. The Lord Himself is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation. Isaiah 12:2. I wanted to take a moment to recognize the importance of our faith despite hardships that have come over the last few years. I am so thankful that I know, even in the midst of hardships and struggles, where my strength comes from and from the source of hope, that my salvation is not in my hands, but God's. This design is a part of a pair, so you have He Saves Me and Trust in Him. Stitch count is 117 wide by 87 high. The finished size is 5 7/8 by 4 3/8 inches. This was stitched on 40 count cream and sugar by fiber on a whim using 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. In this design, we have all week's dye works. And just so you know, the color palette is the same for both, and there's enough floss to stitch both of them. So 1 skein of floss will stitch both of these. There is a DMC color conversion. And a very special thank you to Jan Calvert for beautifully finishing this design for me. She does a beautiful job with fully finishing. And to Jersey Girl Stitch Company for the beautiful pins. So this is He Saves Me. And then here's your pattern cover for Trust in Him. And here's the information on that. The same wording was used at the top. The stitch count is the same, 117 by 87. The finished size is 5 7/8 by 4 3/8. 40 count cream and sugar by fiber on a whim, and using 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. This one does have Smyrna stitches for the bees, which those are super easy to stitch, and it can be stitched on Ada. This one was stitched using the same week's dye works from the He Saves Me, but I added also 1 skein of DMC, which is the brown for the stand of the beehive. And again, a special thank you to Jan Calvert for finishing this for me, and to Teresa and Anna with Jersey Girl Stitch Company for the pins. I hope that you all love this as much as I do. It is one that was just absolutely my favorite to design and to stitch. This is, it just has a very special meaning, and it just really does bring comfort and joy. It's a beautiful, sweet design that can not only be out year-round, but can also make a wonderful gift for someone. So we have He Saves Me, and trust in Him. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll go over the next 4 Celebrate Ewes series. Last year, leading up to Nashville Needlework Market, I created the first Celebrate Ewe. It was Lucky Ewe. And when I designed Lucky Ewe, I did not think about her as being, or the beginning of a series. So after I designed her, I just thought she was just so cute. And my friend Chrissy with Finally a Farm Girl said, you need to make that a series. They're just so adorable. So I did. And so our Lucky Ewe, the very first one, has had a facelift. I have refinished her. I'll show it to you in just a moment. But for this market, we have 2 new releases in the Celebrate Ewes series. The first one we have that I want to share with you is called Love You. And it is one that it can be for Valentine's Day, or it can be year round, or it can be another one for a friend, or Mother's Day, or just to stitch for your sister or for a stitching friend. But in this one, we have this beautiful blue, it reminds me of a blue milk glass vase with this beautiful bouquet of flowers. And we have all of the different shapes of hearts hanging from the garland at top. And then our sweet little girl in my favorite shade of blue, a dress. And it is just a fun little design. It's finished on Tilda fabric, and it's finished on a bender board size small from Chantel 141 Design Company. This is one that I said that this whole series, you can just get one board and use magnets to replace the image or the design piece monthly or seasonally or whatever you want to do. So this one is called Love You. And let's go over all the details. So here's your pattern cover, Love You. And here's all the information. All of the Ewes series are the exact same size. So the size is 70 by 70 stitch count. The finished size is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. It's stitched on 32 count pistachio frappe. They're all stitched on 32 count pistachio frappe. This one uses a combination of DMC floss using 2 strands over 2 strands over 2 linen threads, but we have a combination of DMC floss, Weeks Dye Works, and Classic Color Works. There is a DMC color conversion. Just keep in mind, anytime with the DMC color conversion, it's not going to be an exact match, but I do try to pay close attention to the conversion so that you can have that choice of stitching with DMC. This is the small plain bender board. The paint used for all the boards, it's all on the back of my pattern, was Little Black Dress for the black stand, bead board, and sandy blonde. That is the color combination for the board. A very special thank you to Amy Raffa for model stitching this design for me. So this one is Love You. So let's look at the next one. The next one in this series is called Hoppy Ewe, and this one is for Easter or for spring, but Hoppy Ewe, and here she is. Hoppy Ewe was a joy to create. I love this color palette. I love Easter color palettes. This one was so much fun to play with the color. So we have our girl in her purple dress, and she has her French knot pearl earrings, and she is just out for a Easter stroll, a springtime stroll. We've got a cute little chick here We have our ewe holding a basket of Easter eggs. And this is finished on the same board, and this is another Tilda fabric. And these are both the Tilda fabric that I showed you for Love You and this one are both in the current collection. So both spring colors, spring fabrics that can still be purchased. So this is Hoppy Ewe. Give you a little bit more of a look with the beautiful flowers in the tree. It's just so fun. And she's holding a beautiful little stem flower. So let's go over all the information on Hoppy Ewe. Here is your pattern cover. This one was so much fun. So this one was also modeled stitched by Amy Raffa. Thank you so much, Amy. And we have 70 by 70 stitch count. Finished size is 4 3/8 by 4 3/8. 32 count pistachio frappe. Combination of DMC, Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and Gentle Arts for the colors. There is a DMC color conversion. This is the small bender board from Chantel 141 Design Company. And the same paint colors were used. Little Black Dress, Beadboard, and Sandy Blonde. And those paint colors, if you would like to paint your board the same as this, can be purchased from Chantel 141 Design Company. So let me show you, now that we have, oh goodness, how many ewes do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 ewes. I'm going to keep the series going for just a little bit longer, but let me show you all the ewes. So it started with Lucky Ewe, and Lucky Ewe, I was able to get Lucky Ewe off of the original black board. I showed y'all that in my last video, but Lucky Ewe, we have Sew Ewe, S-E-W-U. We have Patriotic Ewe. We have Boo Ewe. We have Thankful for You. We have Merry Ewe. We have Snow Ewe. And now we have Love You and Hoppy Ewe. So those are all of the ewes we have, and they will all be available at market as well. But the 2 new ewes will definitely be there. So I hope you like them just as much as I do. They are just such a joy to see and to stitch and to have up in your home, and so quick to stitch and easy to decorate with by replacing them on the boards. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I have the next design that is part of the X Stitch the Rainbow collaboration. So for the 9th release in the 10 new release lineup, we have a collaboration with X Stitch the Rainbow, which is a group of designers that have organized a kind of a stitch-along collaboration, if you will, that they do every year at market. This is the 3rd year they've done it. And Abby with Top Knot Stitcher approached me back in the fall and asked if I would like to participate for Nashville, and I said, of course, I'd love that. So here are the details. They select the color palette and the floss dyer, and the idea behind it all is that out of 20 plus designers that are asked to participate, we all use the exact same floss, the same 4 shades of floss, but we have creative liberty of the fabric we use and the design that we create. The only stipulation is it has to be 60 by 60 stitch count or smaller. That's it. Use the colors, the 4 colors, 60 by 60 or smaller, but you have creative liberty from there, except the theme is Night Garden. So the theme this year is Night Garden, and I'm going to show you the design and then tell you all about it. So I chose to title mine In Nature. The quote on here says, "In nature, nothing exists alone." And this is sort of my interpretation, my vision of a night garden. And this is really, in my mind, like a little fairy garden. So we've got a little fairy house and little dragonflies, Smyrna stitches for the lightning bugs. And then we have this tiny house with this exaggerated vine of morning glories or whatever you envision it to be. But I love the shade of purple. This was stitched on 32 count Campfire Smoke by Lappin Loops. And the finishing trim is Lady Dot Creates Anemone, and it has a nice subtle gray purple to it. This is the same purple Tilda fabric that I used for Hoppy Ewe. And these pins are also from Jersey Girl Stitch Company. And I think she titled these In the Garden or Midnight Garden, maybe. I'll have to ask her. We'll get those details for you. But I had this finished by Jan Calvert, and she did a beautiful job finishing it. My very good friend Dawn Eck stitched this for me. Beautiful model stitching that she did for me. So let's go over all of the details of In Nature. So here's your pattern cover. In Nature, this is the logo for the X Stitch the Rainbow Night Garden palette. And X Stitch the Rainbow has an Instagram page if you would like to go and see all of the other designs by the 20+ designers that are participating in this. So let's go over the back of the pattern. So In Nature is a stitching collaboration. A stitching collaboration is always fun and challenging, and this year's X Stitch the Rainbow collaboration proved to be nothing short of an exciting journey. In Nature came about as I processed the 4 colors selected and considered the other designers who would join the list. Rachel Carlson, who wrote In Nature, Nothing Exists Alone, believed that everything we do affects things, animals, and people around us. As collaborations do, I hope that this piece will cause reflection on others involved, who influences you and who you influence, and that perhaps our joint efforts can bring about positive results in our community. The stitch count for this is 60 by 60. The finished size is 4 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. This was stitched on 32 count Campfire Smoke by Lappin Loops using 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. And the floss used, that we all use together, is this. I showed y'all this last time and it doesn't look any better because it's been used, but these are beautifully twisted displayed thread when they're brand new. But this is called Threadworks floss, and they're numbered floss colors. They don't have names. So we have, and I have the numbers listed on the back of the charts, but these are the 4 colors used. We have a shade of green, a goldy taupe, a blue, like a royal blue, and then a beautiful purple. Special thank you to Dawn Eck for model stitching this for me. Jan Calvert for finishing this for me. The finishing trim is Lady Dot Creates Rick Rack Anemone, as I mentioned, and the pins are from Jersey Girl Stitch Company. So this is, again, In Nature, and it is such a cute, sweet, quick stitch. And as you can see, my small design did not use all the floss, so this could be used to stitch several other designs. So In Nature, and it will be available at Market. So In Nature. My last new release is a reproduction sampler. And this is one that came to me very recently, and it was not one that I had planned on releasing for market. But sometimes samplers just speak to you, and this one did just that. It was one that I did not want to wait a year or 6 months to release it. I just wanted to get it in your hands as soon as possible, because the message spoke to me, and the message on this sampler was, I felt very powerful and very just wise. I just really felt that this was something that you all would enjoy, and I wanted to get it out to you as soon as possible. So I thought I was finished with my Nashville Needlework Market new release lineup, and this little baby came in my hands, and I just quickly got to work on it. And my wonderful model stitcher, Michelle Stoner, was available, and she said, I can stitch that for you in no time. Ramona said, I can frame it for you in no time. And so we got to work, and we got it done, and it is ready for you all. So without further ado, I want to show you Hannah Welch. Hannah Welch, we don't know anything about her, but we do know that she was a brilliant, brilliant girl just by looking at the color choices that she selected for this sampler and for the message on the sampler. So this sampler says, we may as well expect that God should make us rich without industry as make us good without our constant endeavors. So let that just sink in for a minute. And look at all of the beautiful colors, all of the wonderful details on this, in this sampler. The pinks, the different shades of pinks. We have a cow, we have some dogs, these beautiful flowers, this amazing border, and it is just a joy. It is such a joy to just look at her. I do have the original out. I forgot to grab it. I'll grab it in just a second, that I want to show you as well. But I just had to get this charted for you and stitched and framed and ready for market, because with this color palette, it just needed to be for spring. But with that phrase, with that saying, I mean, you would have thought that she was a philosopher or something. This is just amazing. This is a quote that I cannot find anywhere. I don't know if this is something she heard in school, if this is something she heard at home or in church or somewhere, or something that she wrote herself. But it is one that just really stands out, and one that I just absolutely fell in love with. I mean, let's go over a little bit more detail about this. So Hannah Welch, I felt she needed a very bold cover because of the very bold color palette. So we have this beautiful pink, Hannah Welch. She is an exact reproduction sampler. So let's go over the details. This again is the quote on the saying on the sampler. We may as well expect that God should make us rich without industry as make us good without constant endeavors. Brilliant Hannah Welch said that. While we would love to credit this quote to a great philosopher or perhaps the Bible itself, but there is no record of this saying being found, which makes this sampler even more desirable treasure. This really did check all those boxes for me when I look for antique samplers. This is very unique. The color palette was very unique. The border, although it's not an exact perfect border, she was very close. But the colors, the style for the border is just so much fun. Very, very, very well done. The color palette, I love the blues, the greens, the pinks, and the grays. So this stitch count is 168 wide by 179 high. The finished size is 9 3/8 by 10 inches. This was stitched on 36 count suede by Needle Bling Designs using 1 strand of floss over 2. The other special part about this I felt that she needed some special threads. So I decided to use the Saju floss. Those are these colors here on these cards. These are beautiful cotton flosses, and the color palette was absolutely a joy to play with. But these colors are beautiful. There is a DMC color conversion, but these colors are a lot of fun, and these were so nice to work with. Michelle Stoner, thank you for model stitching this for me, and thank you Ramona Bishop at Bennett in Knoxville for framing this. It's absolutely perfection. Love it, love it, love it. So this is Hannah Welch. Let me get the original. It's right here. And this is one that I also asked that it be removed from the frame because the frame was so badly damaged. But here it is. And it is just breathtaking. I absolutely love it. Her name was in a color that just did not show up, so I decided to copy the pink for her name. The same with the gold lettering up here. I decided to change it to a green so that it would show up. And the wording here was not showing up either, so we decided to switch that color to the gray color. But I want to show y'all how this was finished, how she finished this on this wooden frame. And it's almost like she stretched it on there just to get it to stay. I think that is one of the things that has helped preserve this for so long. But I absolutely love it. I do keep it in acid-free paper and in a museum box to keep her safe, but she is just one of my favorite in my collection. I think I've already said that about some others before, but I really mean it. She is just so much fun. And look at this bird. And here he is in the sampler. So let's just take another second and look at Hannah Welch. So much fun, even the pops of orange over here. So Hannah Welch is the last of the new market releases, and we're going to take a quick break. When I come back, we're going to talk about how to place your order. Let's do a quick recap, and then we'll go over how to place your order. So out of the 10 new releases, the first one was a Bountiful Sampler, Then Sings My Soul, Stitching Mends the Soul, Friends O'Plenty, He Saves Me, Trust in Him, Hoppy You, Love You, In Nature, and Hannah Welch. So those are the 10 new releases I have for Market. So just to kind of give you an idea of how Market works, a lot of stores, brick and mortar stores and online stores are currently taking pre-orders. So what you do is you comment or you email or you call your shop and say, I'd like to pre-order these patterns. And you've noticed a lot of stores saying they all have different ways that they handle their pre-orders, but that's why the designers try to get their designs out as early as possible or in far enough advance before Market so that you can place a pre-order. Then those shops will contact the designer or me and say, I'd like to order X amount of, and then they list the patterns. I print them up or I get them organized so that at Market, they just come by and pick them up. So that's one way that stores do their pre-order. Another way is some stores choose to just purchase in person. They don't place a pre-order. They just come in, in your room, and they place the order right then and there in person rather than doing it in advance. Both are perfectly fine. I will have pre-orders there ready for pickup, and I'll also have patterns printed and ready should a store decide to just come in and tell me right away what they want. I will have plenty of patterns. I will make sure to print as many as I can, and if I should sell out of anything, we will make arrangements with that store to fill that order and get it to them as soon as possible. I'm just a few hours from Nashville, so I will be home the next day and I can quickly print and ship anything to any store anywhere. So what I will do now that the video is done, I have will send the newsletter to all the shops, all the stores by now, or by the time you are watching this video, they will have received my newsletter. In the newsletter, I have a photograph of all of the patterns with detailed information of what is used in that design, whether it's, they'll have the stitch count, they'll have the fabric, they'll have the floss colors. So, and then I will also make a social media post on both my Instagram account and on my Facebook account with the same information. So I will have the photo of the design with all of the information there. So should you decide to have it kitted up with your needlework store, you will also have that information so you can let them know. So lots of information for you to absorb and to go over and to decide, but I am seeing a lot of new releases coming through. I'm so excited. There are a lot of new shops that will be attending market, a lot of new designers that will be attending market. It is a wonderful time, like I said earlier, for store owners and vendors alike can get to know each other, because I just think it's important that we meet in person. I love the market that we have in the fall when it's all virtual, but I like that face-to-face contact. I like getting to know stores and where they're from and a little bit more about their client base and their customer base. So it's always fun for me to meet everybody in person. So I have a very easy policy, an easy way for them to order from me. Because I do live close to Nashville, I will be taking pre-orders from stores all the way up until the day before I leave for market. So they can place an order with me through Wednesday, March the 5th. So very easy, very accommodating, and like I said, if I sell out, I will get the patterns to them or their order to them as soon as possible. If you have any questions about any of the patterns that I've shared with you today and you don't find the answers in my social media post, don't hesitate to send me an email. My email is theproperstitcher@gmail.com. Go ahead and make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I am so excited about market. I am very honored to be attending again this year. I cannot wait to bring these new designs to you all. I will have my own room this year. Last year I was fortunate enough to share a room with Little Robin Designs, but I was able to acquire my own space this year. So I will be able to bring as many models as I can, and I will bring all of my patterns with me. So if a store happens to find me for the first time, I will have a full inventory for them to place an order or to purchase directly on the spot. So if there are any of my previous releases that you would like for them to pick up, they can order those from me as well. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. Lots of information. I appreciate you all being patient with me while I got all of these models ready for you. They are all near and dear to my heart. They are just a wonderful collection for you for this season. I'm very proud of them and I'm very excited to bring them to you. Comment below, let me know which is your favorite, and also let's go ahead and have a giveaway for this time. Let me know which is your favorite, and we will do, my next video, we'll do a drawing for 7 of you to win a PDF pattern of your choice from my Etsy store. Another thing to keep in mind, that the new releases will not be available in my Etsy store for 4 weeks after market. I want to give stores the opportunity to sell to their customers before I put it in my Etsy store. That's something I always do. I think it's very important. I love having the option for you all to purchase from me in Etsy, but I really want to support needlework stores. So go ahead and place your order with them, get it kitted with them, but know that it will not be available in my shop for another month after market. But let's do a giveaway. Tell me your where you like to spend your stitching money. List it below, whether it's online, brick and mortar, and if you are looking for a place to place an order, or you're needing some ideas on where to do your shopping, just read the comments below. There are so many wonderful needlework stores, and they are working so hard for you all to make sure that you get everything you want from market through these pre-orders. So answer that question below. Also, let me know which is your favorite out of all of the new releases that I have this time. And thank you so much for your patience for me getting all of these together for you. I'm excited to bring them to you. I'm not sure when my next video will be. I will try to squeeze one in before market. If not, it will be the week I get back from market. So until then, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.